Awaken the beast. There's a version of you that doesn't exist yet. A version that's hungrier, sharper, more ruthless in pursuit of what it wants. That version is terrifying to the people around you because it doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't apologize for its ambition. It doesn't shrink to make others comfortable. That version is the beast, and it's sleeping inside you right now. Every successful person you admire has awakened their beast. Elon Musk didn't build a space company by being reasonable. Kobe Bryant didn't become a legend by respecting his body's limits. Steve Jobs didn't change the world by caring what people thought of him. They tapped into something primal, something most people suppress their entire lives because society taught them it was dangerous. But here's what nobody tells you. That suppression is exactly what's keeping you mediocre. That voice telling you to slow down, to be realistic, to wait your turn, that's not wisdom, that's domestication. You've been trained like a circus animal to perform for scraps while pretending you're free. The rituals I'm about to share aren't on any productivity blog. They're not taught in business school. They're not safe, comfortable, or socially acceptable. They're the forbidden practices that separate apex predators from prey. And if you're still here, it means part of you is ready to stop pretending you're satisfied with being tame. Let's awaken the beast. Ritual 1. The Dark Mirror Session. Every morning before the world wakes up, successful people do something that would horrify a therapist. They sit in front of a mirror and they confront the person staring back at them with brutal honesty. No affirmations, no positive self-talk, just raw, unfiltered truth. David Goggins calls this staying hard. He looks at himself and asks, who are you really? Not who you pretend to be on social media, not who you tell your friends you are. Who are you when nobody's watching and nothing's at stake? Most people can't handle 5 minutes of this. They immediately start lying to themselves. I'm doing my best. I'm making progress. I'm being patient. These are the lies that keep you comfortable. The beast doesn't trade truth for comfort. Here's how you do the dark mirror session. Set a timer for 10 minutes. Sit facing yourself, no phone, no distractions, and ask yourself the questions you've been avoiding. What did I say I'd do that I didn't do? Where did I choose comfort over growth today? What am I afraid of that I'm pretending I'm not? Who am I lying to, and why? The first few times you do this, you'll feel sick. Your ego will scream. Your mind will try to rationalize and excuse and deflect. That's the domesticated version of you fighting for survival. Let it squirm. The beast emerges in that discomfort. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor of Rome, wrote in his Meditations that we must waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. But before you can be one, you have to stop lying about what you currently are. The dark mirror session burns away delusion. It's painful. It's supposed to be. Do this for 30 days straight and you'll barely recognize yourself, because once you start telling yourself the truth, you can't go back to comfortable lies, and that's when transformation becomes inevitable. Ritual 2. Death Contemplation. Here's what soft people don't understand. You're going to die. Not someday, not eventually. Soon. Maybe today, maybe in a car accident tomorrow, maybe from a disease you don't know you have yet. Your time is finite, and every moment you waste scrolling, procrastinating, or playing small is a moment you'll never get back. The Stoics practiced this daily. They called it memento mori. Remember, you must die. Tim Ferriss, one of the most successful entrepreneurs alive, still does this. He visualizes his own death regularly to sharpen his sense of urgency. But this ritual goes deeper than that. You're not just contemplating your death, you're contemplating the death of your potential. The version of you that could have built something meaningful, the version that could have impacted millions, the version that could have been legendary. That version dies a little every day you choose mediocrity. Here's the ritual. Once a week, sit in complete silence and imagine your funeral. Who's there? What are they saying about you? Are they talking about your comfort, your caution, your excuses? Or are they talking about your impact, your courage, your refusal to die with your potential still inside you? Naval Ravikant says the modern mind is afraid of death because we're afraid of having wasted our lives. We numb ourselves with distraction because if we really sat with how we're spending our days, we'd have to change, and change is terrifying. The beast isn't afraid of death, it's afraid of not living. There's a massive difference. When you truly internalize that your time is running out, your tolerance for bullshit drops to zero. Suddenly, the meaningless meetings don't matter, the toxic relationships get cut, the dreams you've been postponing become urgent. Do this ritual and watch how quickly your priorities reorganize themselves. The beast only has time for what matters. Everything else becomes background noise. Ritual 3. Voluntary suffering. This is where most people tap out. Modern society has convinced you that comfort equals success, that the goal is to eliminate all pain, all struggle, all discomfort. This is a lie designed to keep you weak. The most successful people in history voluntarily chose suffering. Navy SEALs train in freezing water. Olympians destroy their bodies daily. Entrepreneurs sacrifice sleep, relationships, and peace of mind for years to build something meaningful. They don't do this because they're masochists. They do it because they understand something fundamental. Your capacity for suffering determines your capacity for success. Jocko Willink wakes up at 4:30 a.m. every single day, not because he has to, because he chooses the discomfort of discipline over the discomfort of regret. Wim Hof sits in ice baths for 20 minutes. David Goggins runs 100 miles when his body's screaming to stop. These aren't just physical exercises. They're training the beast to ignore the voice that says quit. Here's your ritual. Once a day, do something that genuinely sucks. Take a cold shower. Do an extra hour of work when you're exhausted. Skip the meal you were looking forward to and fast instead. Have the difficult conversation you've been avoiding. The specific action doesn't matter. What matters is that you choose discomfort when you could choose ease. This does two things. First, it raises your baseline tolerance for suffering. The things that used to break you become manageable. Second, it proves to yourself that you control your responses. The body says stop, the mind says quit, and you do it anyway. That's power. Seneca wrote that we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Most people spend their lives avoiding imaginary pain. The beast runs toward real pain because it knows that's where growth lives. Comfort is the slow death. Suffering is the forge where strength is built. Do something hard every single day, not because you want to, because you need to remind yourself that you're not a slave to your feelings, you're the master of them. Ritual 4. The Predator Hour. There's an hour every day where deals get made, where empires shift, where the real players move in silence. It's not during business hours, it's before the world wakes up or after it goes to sleep. This is the predator hour, and if you're not using it, you're already behind. Jeff Bezos, Tim Cook, Richard Branson, they're all awake before 5 a.m. Not because they're morning people, because they understand that the early hours belong to those hungry enough to claim them. While everyone else is hitting snooze, while mediocrity is still dreaming, the predators are hunting. But the predator hour isn't just about waking up early, it's about what you do with that time. This is when you work on your secret weapon, the project nobody knows about, the skill you're mastering in private, the business you're building in the shadows. This is your time to become dangerous. Kobe Bryant used to train at 4 a.m. before his teammates even woke up. By the time they arrived, he'd already made 500 shots. He wasn't competing with them. He was competing with the version of himself from yesterday. The predator hour is when you attack your own potential. Here's the ritual. Identify 1 hour in your day, preferably early morning, where you work on something that only benefits future you. Not your job, not your obligations, your secret advantage. Maybe it's learning a new skill. Maybe it's building a side business. Maybe it's creating content. Whatever it is, it's the thing that will separate you from the pack in 3 years. Protect this hour like your life depends on it, because it does. This is the hour where you invest in equity while everyone else is spending on expenses. This is the hour where you build leverage while everyone else is building excuses. Gary Vaynerchuk built his empire in the hours between 7 p.m. and 2 a.m. while working a full-time job. Grant Cardone created his first courses in the early morning before selling cars all day. The predator hour is non-negotiable. It's where the beast feeds on opportunity while the rest of the world sleeps through their potential. Set your alarm, not for when you need to wake up, for when you choose to dominate. Ritual 5. Strategic isolation. Here's an uncomfortable truth. The people around you are probably killing your dreams. Not on purpose, not maliciously, but through their mediocrity, their doubts, their comfort-seeking behavior. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And if your 5 aren't where you're trying to go, they're anchors dressed up as friends. Naval Ravikant says that solitude is the school of genius. Every major breakthrough happens in isolation. Einstein didn't discover relativity in a group chat. Michelangelo didn't paint the Sistine Chapel with a committee. Newton didn't invent calculus at a networking event. Peak performance requires strategic isolation. This is the ritual nobody wants to hear. Once a week, you need to completely disconnect. No phone, no internet, no people, just you and your thoughts. This isn't meditation. This isn't relaxation. This is combat with your own mind. Most people can't handle 30 minutes alone with their thoughts. They immediately reach for a distraction, a podcast, music, something to fill the void. This is weakness. The beast thrives in silence because silence is where clarity lives. Bill Gates takes Think Weeks twice a year, where he isolates completely to read and strategize. Warren Buffett spends 80% of his day reading alone. Steve Jobs used to take long walks by himself to solve problems. These aren't introverts hiding from people. These are predators who understand that the crowd dilutes focus. Here's what you do. Block out 4 hours every Sunday, no exceptions. Go somewhere alone.
a library, a park, an empty office, bring a notebook and ask yourself the big questions. What am I building and why? Where am I wasting energy? What needs to die for me to level up? What's my next power move? In the silence, without anyone's opinions or energy influencing you, the truth emerges. You'll see clearly what you've been avoiding. You'll recognize the relationships that are draining you. You'll identify the opportunities you've been too distracted to notice. Strategic isolation isn't antisocial, it's essential. The beast needs time away from the noise to sharpen its instincts. Surround yourself with people when you're executing. Isolate yourself when you're strategizing. Your environment shapes you. If you never remove yourself from it, you'll never see it clearly enough to redesign it.
Ritual 6. The Scorched Earth Review. Most people do annual reviews. Once a year, they look back and make vague promises about what they'll do differently. This is useless. The beast operates on a weekly Scorched Earth Review, and it's brutal. Ray Dalio built Bridgewater, one of the most successful hedge funds in history, on radical transparency. Every decision gets examined, every mistake gets dissected, every assumption gets challenged. No mercy, no excuses. This is how you eliminate blind spots. Here's the ritual. Every Sunday night, you conduct a forensic audit of your week, not a journal entry about your feelings, a data-driven autopsy of your actions. You need 3 documents. Document 1, what I said I'd do versus what I actually did. This is where most people's self-image collapses. You said you'd wake up at 5 a.m. 5 times. You did it once. You said you'd finish the proposal. You started it. You said you'd have the hard conversation. You avoided it. Write it all down. No rationalizations allowed. Document 2, energy audit. List every person, activity, and commitment from your week. Mark each one as either energy creating or energy draining. Be ruthless. That friend who always complains? Draining. That project that excites you? Creating. That meeting that could have been an email? Draining. This document tells you where you're bleeding potential. Document 3, the one power move I didn't make. Every week there's a move you should have made but didn't, a conversation you should have had, an opportunity you should have seized, a risk you should have taken. Identify it. Write down why you hesitated. Fear, pride, laziness? Name the demon. This ritual is painful because it forces you to see the gap between who you think you are and who your actions prove to be. Most people avoid this pain. They'd rather maintain comfortable delusions about their work ethic, their progress, their potential. The beast doesn't do delusion. It operates in reality. And reality is built from data, not stories you tell yourself. When you consistently do this review, patterns emerge. You will see the same excuses appearing, the same energy drains recurring, the same opportunities being missed for the same reasons. Once you see the pattern, you can break it, but you can't break what you won't acknowledge. The Scorched Earth Review burns away every excuse and leaves only truth. It's the difference between people who talk about changing and people who actually change. Do this every Sunday for 3 months and your life will be unrecognizable because you'll stop lying to yourself about where your time actually goes. Ritual 7. The Impossible Ask. This is the ritual that separates people who grow incrementally from people who make quantum leaps. Once a month, you make an ask so audacious that it makes you uncomfortable to even type it out. You reach out to someone completely out of your league. You pitch an idea that feels too big. You request an opportunity you're not ready for. Tim Ferriss built his career on this principle. He calls it scratching your own itch and using audacity as a lever. When he was nobody, he emailed the CEOs of Fortune 500 companies asking to interview them. Most said no, some said yes. Those yeses changed his trajectory. Reid Hoffman, the founder of LinkedIn, says that if you're not embarrassed by the first version of your ask, you waited too long. The impossible ask operates on a simple mathematical reality. If you ask for mediocre things, you get mediocre results. If you ask for extraordinary things, even a 5% success rate produces extraordinary outcomes. Here's the ritual. Once a month, identify someone or something that feels completely out of reach. Maybe it's a mentor you admire. Maybe it's a partnership your company isn't ready for. Maybe it's a speaking opportunity above your current status. Maybe it's raising capital when you haven't proven the model yet. Then craft the ask. Not a timid, apologetic email, a bold, specific, value-forward proposition. You're not begging, you're offering a trade. Figure out what they want and position yourself as the solution. Make it so compelling that saying no requires more energy than saying yes. Alex Hormozi talks about this constantly. He says most people lose because they never make the offer. They disqualify themselves before the other person even has a chance to. They assume rejection, so they never ask. This is poverty thinking disguised as humility. The beast doesn't assume, it proposes and lets reality decide. And here's what happens when you consistently make impossible asks. Your perception of what's possible completely recalibrates. The things that seemed unreachable become normal. You start expecting extraordinary outcomes because you've trained yourself to ask for them. But there's a deeper effect. Making the impossible ask forces you to become someone worthy of a yes. When you're trying to get a meeting with a billionaire, you can't show up with mediocre preparation. When you're pitching a partnership to a major company, you can't have a half-built product. The ask forces you to level up to deserve the opportunity. This is growth through audacity. Most people wait until they feel ready. They'll make the big ask when they have more experience, more credentials, more proof. This is backwards. The ask creates the urgency that creates the readiness. Make one impossible ask per month. Track your success rate. Celebrate every no, because each one means you're aiming high enough. And when you get a yes, which you will if you're strategic about it, that single yes will be worth more than 1,000 comfortable conversations with people at your level. The beast doesn't hunt in familiar territory. It ventures into spaces where it doesn't belong yet and claims them anyway.
Now let's talk about what happens when you actually do these rituals. Not once, not when you feel like it. Every single day with religious discipline. First, you'll feel insane. Your friends will think you've changed. Your family will tell you to relax. Society will push back against your intensity because your hunger makes their comfort look like complacency. Let them talk. Their opinions are the price of admission to a life they'll never have. Second, you'll start seeing opportunities everywhere, not because they suddenly appeared, because you developed the eyes to see them. Most people walk through life blind to possibility because their awareness is trapped in comfort and distraction. The beast operates with heightened senses. Third, you'll become uncomfortable to be around, not in a bad way, but people will feel the energy shift. You'll stop engaging in small talk. You'll cut conversations short that don't serve growth. You'll say no to invitations that used to get an automatic yes. This is normal. You're not being rude. You're being selective with your most valuable resource, your attention. Fourth, and this is the most important part, you'll start producing results that seem disproportionate to your effort. This is because these rituals compound. The dark mirror session makes you honest. Death contemplation makes you urgent. Voluntary suffering makes you resilient. The predator hour gives you leverage. Strategic isolation gives you clarity. The scorched earth review eliminates waste. The impossible ask accelerates opportunity. Individually, each ritual is powerful. Combined, they create an entirely different operating system. You're no longer running the same software as everyone else. You've upgraded to something most people don't even know exists. But here's the warning, and this is critical. These rituals will cost you. They'll cost you comfort, they'll cost you certain relationships, they'll cost you the version of yourself that was content with being average. And you need to decide right now if you're willing to pay that price. Because once you awaken the beast, there's no going back to sleep. Once you taste what it feels like to operate at full capacity, mediocrity becomes physically painful. You won't be able to tolerate wasted days anymore. You won't be able to sit through meaningless conversations. You won't be able to accept average results. This is the burden of awakening. You become responsible for your potential. You can no longer hide behind excuses about not knowing better. You know better now. The question is whether you have the spine to do what you know. David Goggins says that everyone wants to be a savage until it's time to do savage things. Everyone wants the results. Nobody wants the rituals. They want the body without the diet, the business without the sacrifice, the respect without the discipline. But you're different. I know you are, because you're still here. You didn't click away when this got uncomfortable. You didn't dismiss it as too extreme. Something in you recognized the truth in these words. That's the beast stirring. That's the part of you that's been suppressed, finally getting permission to emerge. So here's what you're going to do. You're not going to watch this video and then do nothing. You're not going to feel inspired for 20 minutes and then return to your scrolling. You're going to pick one ritual, just one, and you're going to commit to it for 30 days. Maybe it's the dark mirror session every morning. Maybe it's the predator hour before work. Maybe it's the weekly scorched earth review. Start with one, master it, then add another. Within 6 months, you'll be running the full protocol and your life will be unrecognizable. But first, I need you to do something right now. If this video resonated with you, if something in these words woke up a part of you that's been dormant, I need you to smash that like button. Not because it helps the algorithm, though it does, but because hitting that button is your first act of commitment. It's you saying to yourself, I'm ready to stop being tame. Then, share this video with one person, just one, someone you know who's been playing small, someone who has potential they're not using, someone who needs to hear these words as much as you did. Don't hoard this knowledge. The beast mentality spreads through intentional sharing. And finally, subscribe to Hungry for Success, because this channel isn't for people who want to feel good, it's for people who want to be good, to be dangerous, to be unstoppable. Every video on this channel is designed to sharpen you into a weapon, to give you the tools that school never taught and society actively hides from you. There are thousands of self-help channels that will tell you to be kind to yourself, to practice gratitude, to trust the process. That's fine for people who want to stay comfortable, but you're hungry for success. You don't want comfort, you want conquest. You don't want to fit in, you want to dominate. So subscribe, turn on notifications, because the next video drops in exactly 1 week, and it's going to show you the dark psychology of influence that makes people unable to say no to you. It's going to give you the social leverage that separates leaders from followers. But you'll miss it if you're not subscribed, and missing it means staying where you are while everyone who did subscribe takes the tools and runs past you. The choice is yours. Stay domesticated and comfortable, or awaken the beast and claim what's yours. I'll see you in the comments. Tell me which ritual you're starting with. Tell me what you're done tolerating. Tell me that you're ready. Welcome to the hunt. This is Hungry for Success, and the beast inside you just opened its eyes.